When Julia invited her sister Anna over for a casual sleepover, I thought little of it at first. But as the night progressed, it became clear that I was more than just an onlooker in their plans. Before I realized it, I was the one being drawn into their games, and events soon spiraled in a direction I never anticipated. Julia, my wife, had been eagerly planning this sleepover with Anna for weeks. They were both looking forward to it, and initially I didn't give it much thought. Julia and I had been married for a few years, and Anna frequently visited us. The two sisters were always close, often sharing laughter and reminiscing about their childhood. So, when Julia asked if Anna could stay the night, it seemed like a simple family gathering. Little did I know that this evening would be far from ordinary. But the night started off like any other. We had dinner together, the three of us sitting around the table, chatting about everyday topics: work, family, weekend plans. The atmosphere was relaxed, the easy flow of conversation typical of people who knew each other well. Yet, beneath that comfort, there was something more, a subtle tension I couldn't quite identify, a brief exchange of glances between Julia and Anna that seemed out of place. I dismissed it, convincing myself I was imagining things. After all, what could be more innocent than a sleepover between sisters? But as the night wore on, the mood subtly shifted. At first, the changes were barely noticeable: a lingering touch from Julia on my arm, a laugh from Anna that went on just a bit too long. They both seemed particularly lively, their laughter filling the living room as we watched a movie. Yet, there was something different in the way they moved and the way their gazes met that made my heart race. It was late when we decided to turn in for the night. The lights were dimmed, casting gentle shadows around the room as Julia turned to me with a playful grin. "Why don't you join us in the guest room?" she asked teasingly. I raised an eyebrow, unsure of her meaning. "Join you for what?" Julia glanced at Anna, and the look they shared sent a nervous flutter through my stomach. Anna responded with a slow, knowing smile before turning back to me. "We thought it might be fun," Julia continued softly, almost whispering, "all of us together, like old times." My thoughts scrambled, trying to piece together what she meant. The playful edge in her voice, the way she looked at me, it felt like a game, but not one we had played before. My pulse quickened as her words began to make sense. This wasn't just a typical sisterly sleepover, there was something more behind it, an unspoken tension hanging in the air. "Are you serious?" I asked, barely able to keep my voice steady. Julia leaned in closer, her hand resting on my leg. "Why not? It's just for fun." I glanced at Anna, who watched us with an expression that sent a thrill of nervous energy through me. She seemed unsurprised by Julia's suggestion. If anything, it felt like they had coordinated this together. My mind was spinning, but even as I struggled to process it, my body was already reacting to the possibilities they were presenting. Without saying another word, Julia stood up, offering her hand and pulling me from the couch. I followed her, and we walked down the hallway to the guest room, Anna trailing behind us, her presence adding to the surreal feeling of the moment. The guest room had a soft, warm glow with neatly arranged sheets on the bed, and a sense of anticipation filled the air. The tension among the three of us grew, a nearly tangible energy building with every moment. I glanced from Julia to Anna, my heartbeat quickening as they exchanged another unspoken look. Something was unfolding. Something I didn't fully understand yet, but it was unmistakable. The night had taken a decisive turn. Julia led me to the bed, guiding me to sit with a gentle yet firm touch. She gave me that same playful smile she had worn throughout the evening before turning to Anna. "Shall we?" she asked in a low, almost secretive tone. Anna nodded, a small smile touching her lips as she moved closer. My breath caught in my chest as I watched her, my mind racing with all the potential outcomes. There was a mix of excitement, curiosity, and something deeper in the room, a feeling that made my skin tingle with anticipation. Julia and Anna stood before me, their movements slow and deliberate, as if savoring each moment. Julia's hand brushed against my arm, sending a shiver through me. Her touch felt different that night, more intentional, more intimate. She smiled at me, a glint of mischief in her eyes that I hadn't seen for a long time. Anna stepped nearer, her presence warm beside me, saying nothing but communicating everything with her eyes. There was no awkwardness, no hesitance. It felt as though we had all been moving toward this moment for quite some time, even if we hadn't fully realized it before now. Julia leaned closer, her lips brushing against my ear as she whispered, "Relax. Just enjoy it," I nodded, my body responding instinctively to her words and the warmth of her breath against my skin. Anna's hand found mine, her fingers intertwining with mine in a gesture that felt both comforting and deeply personal. I could feel the warmth of their bodies, their presence filling the space, and I had to focus to keep my breathing even. Julia's hand moved to my chest, her touch light but deliberate, as though she was savoring each moment. She didn't rush, she let the tension grow between us slowly. It felt like a slow, intimate dance that none of us wanted to end quickly. The night stretched on, and it wasn't about reaching the peak as fast as possible, it was about savoring every moment, letting the tension build until it was nearly unbearable. Julia's lips met mine, the kiss gentle yet deep, tasting faintly of wine, her breath warm as she kissed me more passionately, her hand resting on my neck. Anna's hand remained in mine, her presence anchoring me as the intensity among us continued to rise. I sensed the weight of their attention, the way their eyes lingered on me, studying every reaction, each fleeting expression that crossed my face. There was an unspoken closeness in their touch, in how they moved near me, making my heart race in unexpected ways. As the evening progressed, the mood in the room changed once more. The playful energy that had marked the earlier part of the night gave way to something deeper, something more intense. Their touches grew more intentional, their whispers quieter, and the tension among us thickened with each moment that passed. Julia's hands roamed over my body with a slow, deliberate touch, taking her time, not rushing toward any particular outcome. It was as if she cherished the way my body reacted to her every gentle touch, how my breath caught in my chest with each caress. Beside her, Anna mirrored this pace, her movements just as measured, just as precise. Together, they moved in perfect sync, their hands exploring, their lips grazing my skin, sending my pulse racing. It was like they were playing a game, testing my limits, seeing how far they could go before I lost my composure. But I didn't want to rush, I wanted to savor every moment, to let the night stretch on endlessly. The tension between us grew almost tangible, and I understood that once we crossed that threshold, once we gave in to the desire that had been building all night, there would be no turning back. The hours seemed to blend together as the night deepened. Julia and Anna continued their slow, intentional dance, their touches and kisses drawing me closer to the edge without ever pushing me over it. It was a game, an intoxicating one, that left me breathless and yearning for more. Each touch felt electric, each kiss like a promise of something beyond the present moment. But we were content to let the tension linger, to allow it to build, until it was almost too much to bear. There was no rush, no need to hurry toward the peak. We had the entire night ahead and wanted to cherish every minute of it. My body trembled with anticipation as Julia's hands moved over me, her lips grazing my neck in slow, deliberate movements. Her breath was warm against my skin with each exhale. I closed my eyes, losing myself in the sensations, as if time itself had stopped, leaving only the three of us wrapped in this shared desire. Each tender kiss, every soft touch carried a weight of something deeper, something we had only just begun to grasp. Anna's fingers glided softly over my chest, exploring every inch with a light, teasing touch. I could feel the warmth of her body near mine, a steady, comforting presence that heightened every sensation around me. The room was thick with a quiet tension, the kind that builds and builds, never quite reaching its peak but staying on the edge, holding us all there, suspended in the intensity of the moment. Julia's lips traveled from my neck to my shoulder, her touch growing firmer, more insistent. She knew how to extend the anticipation, how to make me yearn for more without yielding to it. I felt her fingers tighten slightly as they traced a path along my back, a subtle reminder that she was in control, guiding the pace of the night, savoring every second. Anna adjusted her position beside me, her touch keeping time with Julia's in its measured slowness. There was a wordless understanding between them, a harmony that made the experience feel even more intimate, even more profound. I sensed the connection between them, as if they were working together to weave this delicate moment around me, holding me in a place where desire simmered just beneath the surface, ready to overflow but never quite reaching that point. When I opened my eyes, I found both of them watching me, their gazes intense and shared, sending a fresh wave of heat through me. The look they exchanged between themselves, as if silently communicating, added to the tension. They were in this together, and I was the focus of their game, the one they were bringing closer and closer to the edge. Their slow exploration of my body became more deliberate, more focused, yet still unhurried. It was a game they intended to draw out, making me feel every moment of it. Their teasing had become an art, a gentle kiss on my shoulder, a soft brush of fingers across my chest, followed by a lingering caress that left my skin tingling. I was caught in a web of sensation, with them weaving each strand, keeping me immersed in the moment, unable to think of anything else. Julia leaned closer, her lips hovering near my ear, her breath hot and quick. "How does it feel?" she murmured, her voice low and sultry, sending a new wave of anticipation through me. She knew my feelings, but she wanted to hear me say it, to speak the truth aloud. There was no denying it, I was completely at their mercy, and we all understood that. Incredible. I managed to reply, my voice thick with desire, my breath catching as Julia's hand moved lower, her fingers tracing the curves of my body with the same unhurried precision she had maintained throughout the night. I could feel Anna's presence nearby, her hand still tracing gentle circles over my chest, grounding me in the moment, reminding me that she, too, was part of this intimate game we were playing. Julia's lips brushed mine in a feather-like kiss, a teasing hint of what could come, making my pulse race. She pulled back slightly, locking her gaze with mine, and for a moment, everything else faded into the background. The connection between us crackled with energy, and I could sense she felt it too, the way our bodies naturally reacted to one another, how each touch seemed to awaken something deeper within both of us. Anna's hand moved up to my neck, her grip gentle yet firm as she leaned closer, her breath warm against my other ear. "We're not finished yet," she murmured, her voice carrying the same playful teasing as her sister's. The mix of their whispers, their touches, their presence, enveloping me, was nearly overwhelming. Yet, despite the intensity, I wanted this moment to last forever, to keep the tension between us simmering just beneath the surface. Julia shifted beside me, her body pressing softly against mine as her hand met Anna's. Their fingers intertwined in a way that made their connection all the more evident. Together, they orchestrated the tension among us, never allowing it to overflow. It was a slow, steady burn, a flame that grew stronger with every moment, and I was caught right in the middle of it, completely entranced. They both leaned in closer, their lips lightly brushing against my skin, Julia on one side, Anna on the other. Their kisses were gentle and teasing, making my breath catch with each delicate touch. I felt the warmth of their bodies, the way they moved in sync, creating a rhythm that my own body naturally followed. As the night continued, it became clear that Julia and Anna intended to draw this out for as long as they could. Each touch, each kiss, was meant to keep me teetering on the edge, building anticipation to an almost unendurable level. My heart raced, my body shivered with the urge to give in to the desire that had grown between us throughout the night. But they wouldn't let me, not yet. They held the reins, and I was content to let them lead, guiding me through this night of slow burning passion. Every second stretched like an eternity, each touch a hint of more yet to come, but we never crossed that final boundary. It was a delicate balance, one they managed with precision, keeping me in a constant state of expectation without ever allowing us to go too far. It was a game of patience, a game of control, and they were experts at playing it. They knew precisely how to keep me at the edge, how to make every touch, every kiss feel like it was just the beginning, without letting it fully unfold. My body felt like it was ablaze, my heart pounding, but there was no rush. Neither they nor I were in any hurry. I could sense the tension between us growing thicker with every passing moment, the desire among the three of us building to an almost unbearable height. But yet we remained in that space, in that moment, where anticipation was everything, where the promise of what was coming held more power than the act itself. They kept me there, lingering on the edge, with gentle touches and teasing gestures, drawing out every moment until I could barely catch my breath, my body trembling with the desire for release. But still, they resisted. They knew that the longer they held me in that space, the more intense the final moment would be. As the night stretched on, the boundaries between us faded, and the line between reality and fantasy blurred. We were lost in the moment, the three of us moving together. Seamlessly, our bodies reacting to each other in a way that felt both natural and electric. Julia and Anna had transformed the night into more than just a game. It became a dance, a slow, intimate dance that none of us wanted to end. And as the first rays of dawn began to seep through the curtains, I realized this was a night I would remember forever. It wasn't just the physical connection that made it special, but the way they prolonged the experience, the way they kept me at the edge, building the tension between us until it felt endless. It was the waiting, the unspoken promise of what lay ahead, that made the night so unforgettable.